Hello everyone, this is Aaron Holloway with another Lit RPG Highlights video, this one for The Game of Gods by Joshua Kern. The first three books, which is the first arc and the beginning of the second arc, I have 6 main highlights for this one. The first highlight is the main character is very different. It's clear that they see the world differently than most people. This can at times be frustrating, as basically it can sometimes be hard to relate. But actually, something cool is Joshua's actually confirmed this with me, is that the main character is on the spectrum, is on the autism spectrum, which allows him to become very hyper-focused. That's kind of what happens to him, is he becomes very hyper-focused on kind of one goal or another. And that can sometimes be a little bit difficult for us as readers who are not on the spectrum to kind of understand what he's going through. But that's resolved by foils, I'll talk about in a minute. Charles, who's the main character, starts to realize as he goes through this, because he does have an arc, he starts to realize that those around him, even those he doesn't know, that they actually matter. He begins the story by basically not caring about anybody but those he knows and likes. But he slowly starts to grow in that way. And he starts really caring about those he has a responsibility to help. Essentially, as he's given more responsibility, he grows to meet the challenge, which is something that kind of growth is not really seen very often in these kind of books, or in a lot of books, I would say. Charles matures a lot over the series, I'll put it that way. At first, it's clear that Charles has some kind of mental block on top of kind of him being on the spectrum. He's some kind of mental block that doesn't allow him to really relate to other people. But he learned more as we did, and he learned more about himself as the series goes on. That kind of clears up, and as he starts realizing what he's going through, he's able to compensate for it. It's kind of interesting. Brings me to my second highlight, which is where we start talking about the foils in the story. The dog Allie is freaking funny, lovable, adorable, and I want one. She is a giant dog that eventually gets to the size to where Charles can basically ride her into battle. I want one, please. Yes, please. Also, she's kind of the heart of the story, where Charles would leave people he doesn't know to die of thirst. She actively seeks to help people they encounter and acts as a good foil for him. She's the bleeding heart of the group. She's the one that is there to help people and has a real mission to help and nurture other people. And that brings me to my third highlight, which is Allie and Charles' relationship is very interesting. Particularly in book 1, where Allie is learning to think, speak, and understand humans, her very nature changes by her magical connection to Charles. And I honestly find that fascinating in a big way. And I find that I don't know. Usually, when you have kind of animal companions that don't change very much. And that's something that isn't the case here, right? She very much changes and becomes more of herself, becomes more of who she is as the story goes. And I'm not going to say more than that because I don't want to ruin it, but there's some hardship that comes along with being changed so dramatically. It's kind of interesting. That brings me to my fourth highlight, which is Kira. Kira is an interesting character in her own right. She's kind of the second main lead, or the third main lead. She rounds out the trio. She is dealing with some childhood trauma at the beginning of the story that thankfully the story doesn't go into too much graphic detail about. She acts as the opposite foil for Charles that Allie does. Where Allie acts as kind of a bleeding heart, she acts as kind of the hard edge. She wants to focus on their own survival, and the three together act as kind of her and Allie together kind of act as a set of guide rails for Charles throughout the books. Brings me to my second to last point, which is the other supporting characters are all interesting in their own way, but there is a relatively large cast, and it would be difficult for me to go through all of them. but they together make up a solid foil. They set up challenges and supports for all three of the main characters. Lastly, I want to say that this book is clearly PG or PG-13. It's kind of written in a YA style. Kind of simpler writing, but somewhat serious themes without getting too graphic. So both adults and teens and older kids can all enjoy a solid gamelet and lit RPG title. This one, I would say, is very family-friendly, which is kind of a rarity in the genre, to be honest. So I want to thank Joshua, actually, for that. I have wanted to introduce my own family members to this genre who are younger, and even stuff I write is a little bit too dark for people who are their age. So this provides me an opportunity and something I can share with them. So I very much, if you are looking to kind of get your own kids or nieces or nephews into this, this is a really good story to get them started on. All right, well, those are my highlights for this book. Again, The Game of Gods. That's all three of the first books. And you all have a great day. Again, also, I almost forgot. If you want to support me or the author, please purchase the book above or look down below in the links if you're on YouTube and find a way to support me or the author there. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.